Sheriff, if you're okay, go ahead and move forward. Maybe I should restate that. Sheriff, you're here this morning.
That's right. Last Thursday, I went to Storm Lake and I met with Sheriff Launderville and Sheriff Harriman. We're discussing putting together a transportation unit to handle our mental committals, our juvenile transports, and our prisoner transports. Last year, from August 1st of 2008 to August 31st, 2009, we did, in Sac County, 106 transports. As a result of those transports, we brought in, with reimbursable expenses, $16,500. Now, because of the holiday yesterday, I wanted to come in and tell you what our actual out-of-pocket cost was for that, but I don't have that available yet today. What we're proposing is that Buena Vista County would hire an additional deputy, and that when we had a transport, they would assign one of their deputies to come and do the transport for ourselves in Ida County, and that they in turn would turn in the service fees to get reimbursed for, you know, like when we do a mental or a prisoner transport on an order, we get reimbursed $15 an hour plus 50 cents a mileage, plus we get reimbursed whatever our meal costs were for that transport. So they would do the return of service on those transports, and in turn that money would go back to them. We are finding that with our current staffing levels, and with the amount of transports, and with the amount of time we have to serve in our contract towns, by the time you pull somebody off the street to go do a transport, now you're behind on your contract times, or now you're paying somebody an overtime rate to come in and do transports.
Are you not using other officers or other available?
When they're available, we try to, but you know, they're not always available for us. And
so what percentage of the time are they available? Half or less? Or?
Maybe a little less than half. We've been using Tom again when he retired from DOT. We've been using him since May, but you know, again, he's retired and he has his own life, and he's been real good about helping us when we need it. But again, he's not always available.
So then I guess, and I didn't ask the question right, or didn't present it right. How often are we using our staff people to do it then?
As soon as I get the report put together, I'll be able to tell you that. But that's what we're in the process of doing now, is figuring out how many of those were our guys, what our out-of-pocket expense was compared to hiring somebody from the outside.
You know, the reason I asked the question is how much are we expending outside the staff that we have right now? How much are you expending to do it with overtime, and so we have a better financial?
And we're actually pulling each transport we did and going through and seeing who did it, what their time was involved in that, what their hourly rate, or if it was an overtime rate, and what those costs were. And that's what I don't have for you today. But we did agree with the sheriffs and I met last week that we'd each go to our boards and at least tell them that we're talking about doing this and seeing where things will go.
Does this include other transports besides mental health?
Yes, this is everything. This is picking up prisoners on warrants, or taking juveniles to detention, or whatever it was. There was a total of 106.
There'll be some, I mean, just that individual has to drive down here from Storm Lake, and there's some loss of economy in general because of that.
Right.
Factored that in. And you know, when we talk about staffing deputies in the past, one of the many justifications for additional deputy was to have this increasing amounts of
And I think,
but I reckon that, you know, how a lot of this could come up when we're on weekends.
Well, you know, last year we had part of this report will show that not only did we have everybody's vacation times when we were short-staffed, but we also had an additional 25 days where we had guys gone on just comp time. And then you're running short then, so.
What about females? Do we still have to furnish a female?
That's negotiable at this point. You know, one of the big things we did discuss is if we have somebody out at the hospital that needs to go to MHI in Cherokee, that we would load them up and run them and meet their deputy with them instead of them having to come all the way back down here and then go all the way back across. But, you know, again, this is just in the infancy stages. We've had one meeting. We're all putting together what our actual out-of-pocket costs were and man hours, and it may not even be feasible to even try to do this. But
And I think for us, and we appreciate the heads up, but for us, we'll need numbers to look at, to evaluate,
you know,
to see where it turns out.
and had, like I said, yesterday had not been a holiday, we'd had all that done, but we'll get that together and bring it back to you and tell you where we're at.
Okay.
All right?
Anything else?
Things going.
Steady. Not too busy and not too slow either.
How's our new dog doing?
That dog's a four-legged tracking machine. I'm just here to tell you, that's very well. He's doing very well.
Get that down, Dale?
Four-legged tracking machine. We
Put the fear of the Lord in.
we did, we got called down to Wall Lake a couple weeks ago and did a track down there on the burglary, and tracked suspects back to a house. They'd already left. And then we went up northeast of Shaler, and there was a elderly lady who had wandered off in the cornfield, and did a track on that. And the fire department found her farther south in the field, but the dog was on the right track, so we're doing well with that. Just finishing up the bite certification or patrol certification, so we'll get that done. We're good to go.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Well, talk to you later.
Okay.
See ya.